Hello and welcome to another episode of Interview with Irene. Today I have the wonderful Randall Rutledge with me, who has been working extensively in the country music business and also in the movies business. And today I am honored to have him to talk about his experiences. So thank you so much, Randall, for joining me.
You're welcome, Irene. Glad to be here.
Um, So, could you start by talking a little bit about your background and um how you began both in music and the movies?
Sure. Actually, I got the bug when I was 6 years old. They were filming the movie The Trail of Tears in my hometown, Calhoun, Georgia, at what we call New Echota. New Echota is actually the second capital of the Cherokee Nation prior to the Trail of Tears in 1838. But I got to go out there and meet Johnny Cash while they were filming.
Oh wow.
And I remember telling my family at 6 years old, I'm going to do what Johnny Cash does one of these days. And they all laughed at me. So 14 years later, when I was 20 years old, um, got discharged, went in the Marines when I was 17, got discharged when I was 20. And after I got out of the Marine Corps, I went straight to Hollywood and started trying to figure out how to get in movies and stuff.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you also wrote a book about your experiences from movie city to music city. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, could you tell us a little bit about that?
sure. The title's From Movie City to Music City, USA, and it speaks about what I've done in the movie industry and music industry and the ins and outs of the film and music business. So kind of try to draw a picture in the book of so people can understand how both industries work, and they're kind of pretty tough industries. And if you plus I speak about the cons and the scams that you could run into in the movie and music business. There's a lot of people out there that are not legitimate. They're crooks. They will rip you off. They'll prey upon your dreams just to try to wrongfully separate you from your money. So I kind of talk about that, show you how to spot a con artist and how to avoid them so you don't get ripped off.
Right, does anyone going into the business, I think, should know ahead of time what kind of scam are, because sadly they are out there. So I agree that's important. So, so who are some of your favorite country artists besides Johnny Cash?
Yeah, there's George Strait,
And
Garth Brooks, Johnny Horton. Some of you younger viewers may not know who Johnny Horton was. He uh, he did a lot of historical songs, Battle of New Orleans, Sink the Bismarck. So he was also one of my musical influences when I was young. Elvis Presley wasn't really country, but he had a few country songs, a few crossover songs that crossed over from rock to country, like Kentucky Rain. Uh, Garth Brooks is a favorite of mine. Alan Jackson. I mean, uh, probably not enough time on your show here to mention every single artist that I like.
we have time, don't worry about that. But
But Dwight Yoakam, I met Dwight Yoakam before he ever got his record deal. He used to sing at the same talent show that I sang at, the Palomino in North Hollywood, California. But Palomino's been closed for years now. It's kind of sad that they did close it down. Hollywood should have made that a museum because of all the movies and all the country stars that performed there. And all the movies that were filmed there. They filmed like Any Which Way You Can there with Clint Eastwood. So it's a shame that it's disappeared over the years.
I, I agree about that. Um, Actually, and I had the pleasure of having dinner with you and your lovely wife last year. And one of the stories you told that kind of stuck in my head was the Pretty Woman cameo. So, would you like to tell us what that was about?
Yeah, I'm Pretty Woman. I mean, you gotta.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lot younger at that time, and I don't have a bird nest on my face at that time. But I'm a security guard in the scene where I'm against the jewelry store window, and oh gosh, Julia Roberts, her name escaped me for a second, but Julia Roberts, she's walking across Rodale Drive, and you see a security guard against the window in the movie. That's me, and like you see it for just like a split second.
Oh, that's amazing. But eventually, they put you down in the IMDb credits for that.
Yeah, I was.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm uncredited on the screen, but
Right.
which was fine with me. The check cash, so I was okay.
Oh, wow, that's good. Any other stories you would like to share?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Let's see. Gosh. Well, when I first went to Hollywood, I um, I tried to find out how to get started in the business, and one day I was at the bus stop and I asked this guy. I said, "Do you by chance work in movies?" He goes, "Yeah, I work background in movies." I said, "Well, how do you get started?" He wouldn't tell me. He
Mhm.
goes, I don't want to create no competition. I go, how can you create competition? I'm almost a foot taller than you. You're bald and I have hair. So I said, come on, help me out, man. So he wouldn't tell me. So one night at Denny's on Sunset and Gower across from Columbia Studios where they film General Hospital, I was sitting at the counter one night and there was this old man there talking to another old man and some younger guy sitting close to the other old man. And one guy asked the older guy, he said, "Didn't you work with Frank Sinatra in a movie?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, "I'm in a scene with him where we're in the jail together." And he says, "I start playing the harmonica, and he said, you can see me in that scene playing the harmonica behind Frank Sinatra." So the younger guy said, "Liar." And the old man said, "I tell you what, if you can be here at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, I'll bring my book of celebrity autographs." And I thought to myself, I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock tomorrow night too. I want to see this
There you
myself.
go.
So I showed up the next night. The man was there and had this huge book. And the thing about him, every picture that was autographed to him, John Wayne, Marilyn Monroe, Humphrey Bogart, a lot of the old time stars from the 40s and 50s, he was also in the picture with every single actor that autographed the picture for him. Like John Wayne said, enjoyed working with you, Sid, the Duke. So that was kind of
Oh,
nice. And so I asked him, I said, how do you get started? I said, would you tell me? Because everybody I have asked since I've been out of the Marine Corps, I said, I've been here in Hollywood now about a month and nobody will tell me how to get started. He said, well, what you do is you go to um, Central Casting. He goes, they're the largest background casting agency in the world. He goes, they've been around since about 1924. You'll sign up with them. And then he said, go to the film commission and they'll print off where things are being shot, whether they're at studios or at public or private homes or whatever. And then go, when you go to so let's say you want to work on the A team. A team's filming at a private home that day. You can get the list of where they're filming. You just go to the location, ask for the set manager, tell him you're there on speculation. No one sent you or no one booked you, but if they can use you, you're available. At that point, they'll tell you one of three things. They'll either tell you, here, sign this pay voucher and go to holding, or they'll say, well, got everybody we needed today, but maybe we can use you later, just hang around. Or they'll tell you, can't use you today, come back tomorrow. And that old man, I do not remember his name. I wish I did, but his first name was Sid. But I credit him for everything I've done in this business because he was the only one that helped me get started or told me how I could at least get started working on real movie sets.
That's so cool. It's always good to have. Sometimes all it takes is one person to steer you in the right direction. So,
Yeah, any movie that I produce and release, I'm always going to have on the screen, thank you, Sid, and appreciation to him. He's probably passed on by now because that was 1982. He was 80 years old then. So he's probably gone by now, but I actually thank him for telling me how I can get started actually working on real movie sets.
That's great. Would you like to talk about any current country or movie projects you have, or are those top secret?
Yeah, well, some of them I can't mention because I signed non-disclosure, but I can tell you, I mean, right now, I currently have 7 projects in development that I'm executive producing. Some of them, 4 of them are other people's projects. 3 of them are my own, but I can talk about my own project. I've got one right now. We're in negotiation with investors. One investor in Dubai is possibly interested in funding my martial arts comedy. It's called Kung Fu Shoes. And this guy gets these shoes from a Shaolin priest and a Kung Fu master, and he becomes a better martial artist. But at one point in time in the story, the shoes get stolen by one of the bad guys, and he's just all worried and nervous about it. But the Shaolin tells him, don't worry. The shoes don't work for people with evil hearts. So when they go to the big fight scene, the one bad guy that stole the shoes, he tells all the other gang members, y'all stand down. I'll beat all of them by myself. So when the bad guy puts the shoes on, they make him kick himself in the face and knock himself out because they don't work for the bad guys.
I can't wait to see that on screen. Look, sounds awesome. So.
Yeah, I wrote that 23 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I've been pushing it ever since. I won't quit till I get it out there.
You have to, because I want to watch it. Yeah. And the other 2 of your projects?
One of them is a horror movie. It's called Bad to the Bone. It's about kind of military experiment gone awry.
Oh, wow.
They have they inject piranha DNA into a pit bull, and the pit bull becomes amphibious, and it escapes, and it leaves a lot of death in its path.
Oh gosh.
And I've got another comedy. It's basically a time traveling comedy. It's called Westbound 18-Wheeler. It's about 2 truck drivers that go back in time to the old West with the cowboys and Indians with their rig. So and that's a comedy. So those 3 are mine, and like I said, the other 4 I can't really discuss because of non-disclosure agreements. But there's some great films in themselves. Even though I didn't write them, I wish I had them. They're well written. I like how the writer wrote them and how descriptive they are. And we've got a couple of investors. Well, one of the films I'm executive producing, we have partial funding right now, and we got to try to get another $975,000. Once we secure that, then we'll be able to start shooting that film.
That's good. And finally, any advice? I know we mentioned before while talking about the book to beware of scam artists in the industry, and another very important piece of advice you want to share with aspiring artists?
Well, I would say don't listen to anybody. Pursue your dreams. Don't let anyone cheat you out of them per se. I always tell people it's like that song that Elvis Presley recorded. Follow that dream. Don't let what stop you. And if they go to a casting agent or a theatrical agent and they want upfront money, walk out because they're a scam.
um,
Because a casting, I was an assistant casting director for 2.5 years in Hollywood back in the early 1980s, and we didn't charge people. The way we got paid was the producers and the production companies paid us for supplying the background or the principals or the supporting actors. So don't ever pay anybody up front. I mean, if you hire a cameraman, yeah, you got to pay him for his camera and his time. That's kind of a different situation if you're producing a film. But if you're trying to be background or an extra in a movie, even a principal or supporting, because sometimes these fake casting companies will run ads in newspapers looking for actors, or they might tell you that as an extra you can make $1,000 a day. That's a complete lie. All extra make is anywhere from $65 to $80 a day. Uh, if you are like if you're a stand-in, you can make about $150 a day. Now, if you're a union actor, you're going to make more money as a union actor. If you're in the Screen Actors Guild or the American Federation of Television Artists, you're going to make more money. Like I think the day rate for a day player is about $750 a day. But as an extra, you're not going to make $1,000. You might, with all the overtime, you might make 100 to 100 maybe $30 a day if you had a lot of overtime as an extra. You will never make $1,000 a day as an extra. And if you do, tell me who hired you so I can go ask them for a job myself,
right.
because you'll never get that much money.
Good thing to know. And thank you so much for joining me today, and hope hopefully we'll have you again sometime in the future.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you again, and I'll see you next time on Interview with Irene. Bye.